Right now, while you're reading this, your body is carrying the ghost of a kiss. Not last night's kiss, not your first kiss. A kiss that happened around 120,000 years ago, long before cities, before writing, before the wheel. And here's the part that should make the back of your neck prickle. That ancient kiss may not have been with a human at all. Hold that thought. We'll come back to it. Because by the time I'm done, the most ordinary, romantic, cinematic thing your species does. Two faces leaning in, eyes closing, the whole world going quiet, is going to look like one of the strangest accidents in the history of life on Earth. Let me ruin the kiss for you first. Then let me make you fall in love with it all over again. Act 1, the beautiful, disgusting thing. Let's be honest about what a kiss actually is. Strip away the candlelight. Strip away the music swelling in the background. Strip away every movie poster where two silhouettes meet on a beach. What's left is this. Two warm, wet holes, the same holes you use to chew, to breathe, to expel half-digested food when something goes wrong, pressed together on purpose. Open, exchanging fluid. In 2014, a team of Dutch researchers decided to measure exactly what gets traded in a single intimate kiss. They had couples kiss for 10 seconds. Just 10. Then they counted. 80 million bacteria. 80 million in 10 seconds. An entire invisible city of microbes migrating from one mouth to another like refugees crossing a border you can't see. If I describe this behavior to you as an alien custom, they push their mucous membranes together and swap 80 million living organisms while their hearts race with joy, you would call it grotesque. You would call it a disease vector. You'd want it quarantined, and yet, when the right person leans towards you, your pupils dilate, your breath catches. Your entire nervous system lights up like a city grid at night. The most disgusting thing on paper becomes the thing poets have died for, wars have started over, and people remember on their deathbeds. So we have a mystery, a real one. Why would evolution, that cold, ruthless accountant that doesn't care about romance, design a species that craves the one thing that looks, objectively, like a public health hazard? To answer that, I have to tell you something that's going to crack one of your oldest assumptions wide open. Act 2, the myth that everyone kisses. You think kissing is human nature, universal, hardwired, as natural as crying or laughing. It isn't. When anthropologists actually went looking, surveying well over 100 cultures around the world, they found that romantic mouth-to-mouth kissing showed up in fewer than half of them. Less than half. Read that again, because it should genuinely disturb your sense of what's normal. There were entire societies, proud, complex, deeply loving societies, where if you'd leaned in to press your lips against your beloved's mouth, they would have recoiled. Some peoples found the very idea revolting. You want to put your mouth there, where the food and the spit and the breath are. Why? Some cultures had something else entirely, the sniff kiss. Instead of pressing lips, lovers press noses and inhale, drinking in the scent of the other person's skin. To them, that was the intimate act. The Western mouth kiss would have looked, to them, like the strange one. So kissing is not a law of nature. It's not written into your DNA the way breathing is. It's more like a song that some cultures learned and others never heard. Which raises an even sharper question. If it isn't universal, where did it come from at all? Who kissed first? And why on earth did it spread to billions of mouths across the planet? And this is where the story stops being cute. This is where it gets primal. HT3. It started with your mother. Take a breath, because the leading origin story of the kiss is tender, ancient, and just a little bit gross. And it begins not with lovers, but with a starving baby. Go back tens of thousands of years, no blenders. No baby food in little glass jars, no soft puree. A human infant has no teeth, and the world is full of food it cannot possibly chew. So the mother did the only thing she could. She chewed it herself, softened it in her own mouth. And then she pressed her lips to her child's lips and passed that food, mouth to mouth, directly into the baby. Scientists call it premastication, kiss feeding. And it wasn't rare. It shows up across human cultures. And you can watch versions of it in our great ape cousins to this day. Now feel what that image does. A mother, a helpless child. Lips meeting in the most basic act of love there is. I will keep you alive. I will give you the food from my own mouth. Out of the dark, hungry chaos of prehistory, the lips pressed together gesture is born. And at its very root, it doesn't mean desire. It means survival. It means I've got you. Here's the haunting part. The brain is lazy and brilliant at the same time. It reuses old wiring for new jobs. So that gesture, that lips-on-lips contact soaked in feelings of safety, warmth, trust, and you are mine to protect, got passed down. Generation after generation. And somewhere along the way, the species pointed that same ancient gesture at a new target. Not the child anymore, the mate. The kiss didn't start as passion. Passion came later, riding on top of something far older and far softer. Every romantic kiss you've ever had may be borrowing its emotional electricity from a hungry baby and a mother who refused to let it starve. Sit with that the next time someone leans in. But hold on, because feeding isn't the whole story. There's a second origin, and this one is written in your nose. Actat 4. The lie your lips are telling. Here's a secret that's going to flip the whole thing around. The kiss might not really be about the mouth at all. It might be about smell. Watch what actually happens in those final 2 inches before a kiss. The world slows down, your faces drift closer. And in that suspended moment, before lips ever touch, you are taking the deepest, most unconscious breath of your life. You are sniffing them. You don't decide to. You don't notice it. But your ancient mammal brain is going to work, pulling in molecules off their skin, off their breath, reading them like a barcode. And what it's reading is shockingly precise. Clues about their health, their diet, their stress, and this is the wild one, their immune system. There's a set of genes that helps build your immune defenses. The general finding from decades of research is striking. We're often most drawn to the scent of people whose immune genes are different from our own. Why would evolution care? Because 2 parents with different immune blueprints can give a child a wider, stronger shield against disease, a better chance to live. So when you lean in and that person just smells right, when something you can't name says yes, this one, that may not be magic. That may be your DNA, scanning theirs, calculating in a language older than words. Our children would survive. The kiss in this telling is a Trojan horse. The romance is the disguise. The real mission is a full-spectrum biological interview, conducted at point-blank range. Taste, smell, texture, temperature, the chemistry of their saliva. In a few seconds of lips and breath, your body gathers more raw data about a potential mate than a dating app could collect in a year. And here's the gut punch. Most breakups that start with "there was just no chemistry" might literally mean exactly that. No chemistry, no deal. Beautiful, isn't it? And a little terrifying. The most romantic thing you do is also the coldest, most efficient genetic screening test ever invented. But knowing this, does it ruin the magic? Wait, because now I have to tell you what the kiss does to your brain. And this is where the floor drops out. Act 5, the chemical storm. Let me take you inside the moment of contact. Slow it down to the speed of neurons. Your lips are not ordinary skin. They are one of the most densely wired regions of your entire body, packed with nerve endings, hypersensitive, screaming with information. There's a reason a feather-light kiss can buckle your knees, while the same touch on your elbow does absolutely nothing. The instant contact happens, your brain doesn't whisper, it detonates. Dopamine floods in, the molecule of craving, of wanting, of more. The exact same system that lights up for cravings and obsession. This is why a great kiss doesn't satisfy you. It makes you greedy. It makes you need the next one. Then comes oxytocin, the bonding chemical. The one a mother's brain releases when she holds her newborn. There's that mother and child again, echoing across the whole story. Oxytocin is the glue. It takes 2 strangers and starts stitching them into we. And while all this is firing, your stress hormone, cortisol, drops. Your body, which spends all day braced against the world, finally exhales. Heart pounding, mind calming, wired, and at peace at the same time. So picture the full storm, craving, bonding, and deep calm, all crashing through your skull at once, triggered by 2 square centimeters of skin touching 2 square centimeters of skin. That's not a kiss. That's a controlled explosion in the most powerful machine in the known universe, the human brain, and you're setting it off on purpose, for fun, on a Tuesday. We are, every one of us, willing addicts to a chemical we manufacture ourselves and can only get from another person's mouth. Now, you've been patient. You've earned the climax. Remember the ghost I mentioned at the very beginning? The kiss from 120,000 years ago? It's time. Acts T6, the kiss that crossed Species. To get here, scientists did something that sounds almost too strange to be real. They studied the hardened plaque on ancient teeth, fossilized dental gunk, scraped from skulls that hadn't smiled in tens of thousands of years. And teeth, it turns out, remember everything. Trapped in that ancient plaque is a record of the microbes that lived in a creature's mouth. Microbes don't appear from nowhere. They move from mouth to mouth through shared food, shared breath, and yes, shared saliva, through closeness, through contact. So researchers went hunting through the mouths of the dead. And in the dental record, they found a particular microbe living in the mouths of Neanderthals. Our heavy-browed, thick-boned, long-extinct cousins. The same type of microbe shows up in us. Now think about what it takes to share the inhabitants of your mouth with someone. You don't get another creature's oral microbes by waving at them across a valley. You get them through intimacy, through sharing food, through breathing the same air, face to face, through the kind of closeness where two mouths come near enough that the invisible cities inside them migrate from one to the other. Let me say the unsayable thing plainly. Our ancestors and Neanderthals didn't just cross paths. They didn't just compete. The genetic record already screams that they had children together. Most people alive today still carry fragments of Neanderthal DNA, a love letter written in our chromosomes. And the microbes hint at something even more intimate than family trees. They hint at closeness, mouth to mouth, breath to breath. The very kind of contact a kiss is made of. Picture it, a fire, somewhere in an Ice Age world. Two figures, not quite the same kind of human. Different brow, different shoulders, different voice, maybe. And one of them leans toward the other and does the oldest, softest, strangest thing. Across a gap of species, across a line that should have divided them. Two faces in the dark, choosing closeness over fear. If that doesn't give you chills, check your pulse. Your species didn't just invent the kiss. We may have shared it with another kind of human entirely, and then watched them vanish from the earth, carrying part of them inside us forever, written in our blood, and maybe remembered in our mouths. The kiss is older than civilization. It might be older than humanity, as we currently define it. It is, quite possibly, a bridge that two different species walked across, toward each other, in the cold. Act 7. The first kiss we ever wrote down from an unknown. Now zoom forward out of the Ice Age into the dawn of writing. For a long time, people believed the earliest record of romantic kissing came from ancient texts in South Asia, a few thousand years ago. A neat little origin point. A place on the map where the kiss was born. Then researchers went back into the oldest writing humans ever produced, clay tablets from ancient Mesopotamia, pressed into wet earth and baked hard, the very first paragraphs of human civilization. And there it was, kissing. Described in clay, in the cradle of writing thousands of years ago, lovers kissing. The act was already so ordinary, so woven into life, that scribes mentioned it casually the way we'd mention holding hands. So the kiss wasn't invented in one place and then exported like a fashion trend. It was already everywhere, already old, already human, the moment we first picked up a stylus to record our lives. But the ancient tablets carry a darker note too, and it's the perfect, brutal twist for a story like this. Because where there's kissing, there's contact. And where there's contact, there are passengers. Those same texts and that same logic hint at the shadow side of all this intimacy. The diseases that ride along with it. The cold sore, the fever blister. The viruses that travel, generation after generation, on the warm bridge of human affection. The kiss has always been two things at once, a gift and a risk. Connection and contagion, love and the invisible cities of microbes that love carries with it. It has never been clean. It has never been simple. And maybe that's exactly why it means so much. The landing. What a kiss really is fun, Vernons. So let's stand back and look at the whole strange machine we've assembled. A kiss is a starving baby and a mother who chewed its food. A kiss is a nose pretending to be a mouth, sniffing out the genes of your unborn children. A kiss is 80 million bacteria crossing a border in 10 seconds. A kiss is dopamine and oxytocin and the silencing of fear all at once set off by a sliver of skin. A kiss is a behavior that nearly half of all human cultures looked at and said, no thank you. A kiss is, possibly, a bridge between two species, lit by a fire that went out 100,000 years ago. A kiss is the first tender thing we ever bothered to write down. It is biology, it is chemistry, it is survival dressed up as romance. It is one of the oldest, weirdest, most dangerous, most beautiful things your animal body knows how to do. And here's the thought I want to leave burning in your mind. The next time someone you love leans toward you, the next time the room goes quiet and your breath catches and your eyes start to close, understand what's actually happening. You are running a program written over millions of years. You are echoing a mother feeding her child. You are reading another human's DNA with your skin. You are triggering a chemical storm you can't control. You are doing something 100,000 generations of ancestors did before you, in firelight and starlight in the dark of caves, all the way back to creatures who weren't quite us. And not one of them knew why. They just leaned in. So do you. That's the strangest, most wonderful part of all. You don't need to understand the kiss to feel it. The science can dissect every molecule, map every neuron, trace the gesture back through the ice. And the moment two people actually lean toward each other, all of it dissolves. All that's left is the oldest sentence the human body knows how to say without a single word. You this now, closer.